Hi, I'm Alex Lehr, author of The Unexpected Sale, What to Do with Inherited Property When You're the Executor of the Estate. And a question that comes up is, what do we do if there are tenants in the property? And that's actually more like a three-part question. Because again, if we're dealing with tenants in the property, part of it is the property in rent control? If it is in a rent control area, and if it complies or falls under the rent control ordinance, then they have to be dealt with very specifically. So there's a whole component that needs to be addressed. But first of all, establish if the area is in rent control. If it's not in a rent control area, then you obviously need to notify the tenants. And even if it is, for that matter, in rent control, you still notify the tenants. And then make sure that the collection of the rents are being conducted and that there's not anybody feeling like someone passed now and they can just start slacking on the rents. So, but if it's outside of rent control, if it is going to be sold, you can start the eviction process once the letters testamentary have been filed and you've been appointed the executor. So that's the most important in that area. But also now in many cases we're finding that there's roommates in the property. And roommates are individual tenants that might have been renting a room. And in most cases they don't have any contractual anything in writing contractually that demonstrates what their duties were. So they have to be handled as well. And again, established how the rents were being paid, go through and make sure that rents are being paid. If there were deposits, there's a variety of things. But when we're selling tenant occupied properties, if the tenants are going to stay in the properties, for instance, if you're selling an income property, we go through an interview process with the tenants, have them fill out estoppels which demonstrate what personal items were theirs. For instance, did they own the stove, or was the stove part of the landlord's? Did they own the refrigerator? Was the refrigerator the landlord's? So we establish who owned what their rents are, what their security deposits are that they're declaring versus what are actually on the leases. So we would like to make sure that all that information is in alignment before the property is ever marketed, so you don't have any conflicts down the road. Again, the most important thing, do the homework up front so you avoid the problems later. Thanks so much.